Yesterday, something from my childhood just disappeared. Poof, gone. Every day is a story. I'm Shannon Cason. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. The tree in my backyard in Detroit was huge. Huge isn't even the right word. Enormous. It stood high above the house with thick branches winding in every direction. The low-hanging branches would span into 3 or 4 neighbors' backyards. Obviously, the tree had been there long before the houses. So who could complain? No one to complain to. The trunk of the tree was in our backyard, but we didn't plant it. It was a tree I climbed with my best friend down the street, and we would make it to the first limb easily. And then it was harder to get to like the third or the fourth. If you got to the fourth limb, you was crazy. It was very dangerous, but of course, we would do it. My dad caught us once. We was on the first limb, and we were jumping from it with trash bags. Like, we had trash bags, and we think those were going to be like parachutes, and we were jumping on the lawn furniture and just breaking up everything. And my dad yelled, and this was the first and the only time that I remember my dad hitting me. He like punched me in my chest, and I was just like stunned, So I do remember that. It was the tree where I kissed my first girl, Tara, who was actually my best friend's sister, younger sister, which I know is totally wrong. You're not supposed to mess with your best friend's girl. That's in Scarface. We know that from Scarface. But my best friend didn't shoot me at the door. Me and Tara, we went behind the tree, and we were acting out our mother's soap operas, and we hugged, and we touched lips, and we just moved our heads back and forth like on the soap operas, like on the TV shows. I shot the tree. My dad let me shoot one of his guns at the tree. I held a heavy gun in my little hands, and he told me not to put my finger on the trigger just yet. And he said, point it at the tree. Then and then he told me, put my finger on the trigger. And he said, squeeze. And I squoze, and the gun pushed my arm back. Then he shot the tree with a bigger gun. He had a bigger gun to shoot the tree. When my mom and dad broke up, we left that house. But whenever I visited my dad, I was in the backyard shooting basketball on the garage rim on the garage, and the tree was in the background. And I look at that tree sometimes, and I how it took over the neighbors' backyards. They had to even trim part of the tree, and it was almost like a umbrella in their backyards. Their whole backyards was full of shade from that tree. Then yesterday, I had to visit my dad, help him take care of some business-related stuff, and we went to breakfast at Coney Island, which we always do, the same Coney Island Coolidge Cafe on Schaefer and Coolidge in 9 Mile, I think it is. And got home, got to his house and dropped him off at his house. I went in the backyard to do some reminiscing like I usually do, and the huge tree, enormous tree, was gone. And it was just flat ground. And I'm like, wow. I mean, like, I'm kind of like, that emoji with the blown up head. So I go in the house. I'm gonna ask my dad. My dad, coolest guy in the world, regular cool guy, nonchalant fashion. He told me it happened about a month ago, man. The city came with the cranes and machinery, and they cut the tree down. It was gone in about 2 days. He told me that they told him that the tree was over 500 years old. 500 years old. That's older than the United States of America. Double the age. We're about to do the 250 thing. 500 years is a long ass time. My dad said whenever he was asleep, he was worried about that tree. He could never really get a good sleep in a storm because it was hard to rest because he could imagine a huge branch crashing through the house. And that he was happy to see it was gone. So I went back outside just to kind of, just wow, looked at the flat ground. It made it 500 years. And it was gone in my generation. I'm kind of sentimental like that, I suppose. A moment of meaning. In my mind, that tree was permanent. It was too big, intertwined through in between all the houses, but now it's gone. Few things are permanent. Nothing that a few cranes and machinery can't handle. But what about you? Have you ever thought something was permanent, like a tree or a place from your childhood, and now it's gone? What's your story?